Hi guys, you have made it to day 18 of ease and I am so proud of you. I am starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel and I hope you are too. And today we are talking about something that is so incredibly important when you are trying to push past your own limits without breaking yourself. And one of the biggest things that you will encounter is something called the negativity bias. So, if you have not heard of the negativity bias, what it is just an evolutionary phenomenon that kept our species alive for generations, and that is the bias of seeing the worst in everything. So if you are ever around someone who is always saying why they shouldn't do something and coming up with all these reasons to keep things the same and keep things safe, they are highly in tune with their negativity bias. And the negativity bias really helped us stay safe when we were cave people, just roaming around the earth. But in today's world, where we live in comfortable environments with plumbing, where there aren't really a bunch of threats from other species, we don't have to rely on that so much, especially because our food supply right now mainly comes from grocery stores or restaurants or however you get your food. But regardless, you're probably not out there hunting unless you think hunting is fun. So that being said, now that we've kind of cleared up why we have negativity bias, we need to talk about your negativity bias and how it is affecting you. A few days ago, we talked about the fear element, and the fear element and the negativity bias are very similar and they are connected. But the negativity bias is almost like the compounded fear that lives within your body and also translates down from parent to child and then works intergenerationally. So you will find that there are some people who have a crazy fear of heights or spiders or whatever it may be, and that's because we pass down trauma in our DNA. And genetically, when we procreate, we actually are sharing all of our memories, all of our experiences with the life that we're creating, so with your children. And that being said, fear and trauma are not bad in and of themselves. They're only bad when they are running the show and we ourselves are no longer active participants. So over the next 3 to 7 days or longer, write down every negative thing that you say. And I write it down in my phone. I write it down with work things, with life things, and I personally will put them into different categories from the beginning. But if you don't want to do that and you just want to make one master list of everything you're negative about, do that. And then at the end of the 3 days or the 7 days, whichever version you choose, go look at what you were most negative about. And you will find that there is probably 1 or 2 areas of your life where you are more negative than another. And from there, I want you to just start paying attention to how this helps you, how it limits you, how it might help other people, and how it might limit other people. And the more you can do this and see how it's playing a role in your life, the more you can change and optimize the role that it's playing. If you find that you are overly negative about, let's say, money, because it's a very easy one to say, you know, like this person is so negative about spending money on XYZ, then start to look at what you do spend on, what you don't spend on, and how it affects your world and the people who are most important to you. And what you might find is that this negativity bias is actually too high, and you might benefit from working on dismantling some of that negativity so that you can show up in a way that invites in more connection, more happiness, more harmony, and leaves you feeling a lot less stressed. Because remember, the whole goal of the negativity bias is to stress you out but keep you safe. So if it's kind of overworking itself, it's actually throwing you into imbalance rather than into balance. So as you start to do this, I also encourage you to ask your closest friends and family what you are most negative about and compare that to your list. But do it after you make your list, because you might catch your own negativity bias in one way and other people may interpret it in another. And that's going to be really important for you to acknowledge and see, so that you understand how you're coming off to others. And the reason why that's so important is because we need connection, we need friends, we need to feel like we are part of something, because we're pack animals. So if you can understand how people perceive you, that means that you can understand what might be limiting your connections and your friendships and your happiness in life. And if you can really see an honest picture of yourself, then you can understand where it is you might want to grow and improve. And there are so many different ways to rework the negativity bias and to cut some things down. But one of my favorite ways of dismantling beliefs that are no longer positively serving me is through tapping and through rewiring. So if I know that I maybe don't want to go to the gym, but I know that my negativity bias is keeping me overweight and uncomfortable, then every time I go to the gym, I should maybe think about a reward I can give myself to activate the dopamine just an extra level, so that I can start ingraining these positive habits into my lifestyle and also hardwire it into my brain. And then to dismantle the negative beliefs that are taking up space, a good thing is tapping. And if you type in EFT tapping and then the topic that you are trying to kind of break down and release from your subconscious programming, then that tapping will help you literally, essentially, like delete it out of your mind and dismantle all the fear that's wrapped around that. And that's where a lot of the generational trauma will be found, and also a lot of the ancestral programming of there is not enough, because we were hunters and gatherers, and we are so far past that. So if you're feeling problems with abundance or with allowing yourself to feel joy, it's probably because you are so tuned in to that hunter and gatherer mentality. But right now we're living in an era where it's actually better for us to plan things out way in advance and to really make our lives work for us rather than us working for our lives. And the simple exercise of just diving into your own negativity and just sitting with it and observing it for a few days will help you get to know yourself on such a deep level. And it actually is going to help you connect with other people more, because I used to be in a situation where I felt like if someone was negative, I could not be around them. And the more that I do the negativity bias exercise that we talked about in this video, and also the tapping, and also the habit rewiring and rewarding, the more I can be around negative people and have it not even affect me, because I'm no longer threatened by it. And that's the most important thing. We should not be threatened by our negativity bias. And yes, it's so easy, and it can be really helpful in the beginning to pretend like it's not there. And one way that I like to do this is a way that my coach He's the Gifted Storyteller on Instagram. Go check him out. He's so amazing. He helped me come up with a phrase that I use when the negativity bias is so strong that I get stuck. And the phrase that I use is, what would I do if I did not have this thought? What would I do if I did not have this feeling? And doing that in the moment is so helpful, because doing the negativity bias challenge of sitting there and being with the negative thoughts and really getting to know them, that is something that is going to be lifelong, and sometimes we just need to get out of it in an instance. So now you have both. You have the long-term practice of getting to know where you're holding yourself back, and now you also have the short-term, instantaneous, I need to get out of this rut and just shake up my energy and move forward tool as well. So that is today's exercise, and I am really excited for you to start doing this, because it's going to just be the biggest game changer, and it's almost like putting a protective coat on top of your skin. And the goal is not to have tough skin or thick skin, it's to have healthy, happy, glowing skin. And obviously this is just a big metaphor for your emotional health and the way you show up in your life. So I hope that was helpful for you, and let me know how it's going. I want to know if you guys have a different way of doing it, because sometimes I do it my own way, and then when someone else shows me their way, I'm like, oh my God. And it really helps me, and I'm sure that other people feel the same way, because there are a million ways of doing this, and yeah, it's powerful. Okay, bye. Have an amazing day, and don't forget, negativity can be your friend. You just have to make it your friend. Okay, bye.